So welcome everybody and thank you for joining us. This is session 5 of our 8-part ongoing series called the Analytics Masterclass. And today we're doing session 5, which is creating and managing prompts in analytics. Before we begin, let's just see where we are in the large picture. When I say the large picture, I want to look at the entire sessions we've been doing because there's structure here. I'm going to send out this page to everybody in case somebody doesn't have it. This is the main Analytics Masterclass page. What have we been doing? We started back October 20th. Seems like such a long time ago. So we started back then and we give an overview and an introduction. Then we started to look at various subject areas of analytics, seeing what kind of data is there. We started with the physical inventory and the fulfillment. Then we moved on to the electronic inventory, the usage, and the acquisitions. Then we started talking about not specific data, but general functionality in analytics. And so that was last week where we did the dashboards. We did touch on prompts last week with the dashboards. We didn't talk much about prompts inside reports. The prompts, as we'll see today, can go inside a report or on the entire level of a dashboard. So today we're now going to talk about the prompts. Next week we're going to do filters and functions. That's somewhat related to the prompts. The prompts, in a way, also filter, but we're going to dedicate just to the filter. Then we're going to talk about the analytics objects, which are the dashboards which are accessible to users to use from within Alma, the widgets, and the scheduled reports. And then general useful tips. In this last session also, I'm expecting it to be a type of open session where anyone who has questions from the previous sessions will be able to ask questions. We've also seen, which is very nice, that it looks like the same people are coming back. Some people have come only for certain sessions, maybe because it was what interested them, maybe it was because they weren't free the other days. But most people have come to all of the sessions. We see repeat people. So I think after these 8 sessions, someone will have a good grip on analytics. Maybe not be the biggest expert in the world, but definitely will have a grip on how to use Alma Analytics and what the capabilities are. This page also, by the way, leading into my next administrative thing before we start the actual session. From this page, we have the recordings of the previous sessions, so you can access them here. You can also access them directly on YouTube, and that's my next plug here. I'm going to our YouTube channel. And in case anybody doesn't have that, I'm going to send that out to everyone as well right now. So now everyone's got that. And here you can search directly for the Analytics Masterclass. You can also just do a search on Alma Analytics. I'm here on the right where there's the search box. And this brings all kinds of stuff about Alma Analytics, including the Analytics Masterclass. And the Analytics Masterclass is also part of a playlist. So you can get right into the playlist and then see all of the sessions from here as well. And skip the ad. Okay, so you've got everything here. You can also do the search directly for the Analytics Masterclass right here. So here you can view all of the previous sessions, and today's session will also be here. One more administrative matter. Everything that we're going to be doing today is on this page. This is the presentations and documents on analytics, and there's a link within this page directly to a section about prompts. And this is what we're going to be doing today. So I'm going to send this out as well. In fact, I'll send the link directly to the prompt section. Copy link. And we're ready to begin. Let me send that in the chat, and we're ready to go. Okay, let's begin. So we're going to start the very basics of adding a prompt to an analytics report. In some cases, I will be showing the documents. In some cases, I won't. I'll just do it off my head. In fact, I don't think we need the document for this one, but everybody has it on their own. So let's begin. We're going to add a prompt. Let me go into one of my demo environments, and we'll get started. Okay. And we said last week, while I'm logging in, we said last week that a prompt can be on the level of the whole dashboard, or it can be on the level of a specific report. Last week, we added a prompt to the dashboard. Today, we're going to focus on the prompts in the reports. So we're going to access analytics. And we'll make a basic report, for example, number of loans by user group, number of loans by library, or purchase order lines by type, whatever. And then we're going to make the prompt on purchase order line type or library name or user group, whatever it is. So let's begin. We're going to create a report. Or analysis is the official term. By the way, any questions or comments, send them in the chat. And you don't have to wait for any specific time. Send them in whenever you'd like. So let's do a fulfillment. And we'll put some fields in here. Let's say we want the number of not in-house loans. And maybe we want also let's take the LC classification, group 1. And let's sort this descending. So very basic report here. We have the number of loans and we have the LC classification group. And let's see what we got. Okay, so here's what we've got. And let's say we want to make a prompt now on one of these fields. So we're not going to do it on the number of loans. We'll do it on the group 1, on the LC group 1. So we'll say we're going to go to the prompts tab. And within the prompts tab, we're going to click here to add. There's a plus, new. And we're going to do a column prompt. Later today, we're going to do a variable prompt. I think we're going to include a variable prompt today, time permitting. So now we're at column prompt, and we're going to choose group 1. That's the field name under the LC classifications. And what can we do here? If I click the custom label, I can call it something else. So I'm going to call it, instead of group 1, I'll call it the LC classification group 1. So it's a little more clear to the user. Then I can choose, what do I want? I can say, just like all of the filters that we have, I can say is equal to, is not equal to, contains, does not contain, etc. And I will say is equal to is in. Then different options for the user input. I'm going to choose now here choice list because we can change it as we go. And just to show what it is, I'm going to say I want choice list. I'm not going to choose anything else. There's many other things under the options, which right now we're not going to choose. We're just going to leave it basic as it can be. The only thing we did is change the name of it. And we chose choice list. and OK, and save. Let's save this. I'm going to save this in my folders. And I'm going to make a new folder here, and I'm going to call this Analytics Masterclass 2021 1117. Okay. And I'm going to call this Loans by LC Classification Group 1. So now there's a prompt. We have a prompt. The way a prompt works is when the user clicks open on the report, the prompt appears. If I just go to the results now, I don't have an option to use the prompt. I need to click open and then I get the prompt. So let's do that. I'm going to the catalog here. And let me just rename this so you won't think I don't know how to spell. There we go. So now if I click open, I get the prompt. And if you recall, I chose text. So now I have each one here. And note that I can choose multiple. I'm going to choose surgery and nursing. Do I have something here, nursing? Yes, I do. So just take note that I can choose multiple and I can, I have boxes to check. I have boxes to check and I can choose multiple. I'm saying that because later we're going to do something else. And this is the size of what I see. Okay, so now it's going to give me, I clicked OK, and now I have only nursing and surgery. Now let's change that a bit. Edit. And we're going to go back to the prompts. So first of all, we should probably make that prompt wider because it's a little narrow for seeing the whole LC classification group. So on the bottom here, where it says display, I'm going to make this a little bigger that way. So on the bottom here, I can play around with how this appears. I'm going to click this edit. And I can do all different kinds of things. For example, here's the width. Set width of all prompts. I can make it dynamic, meaning it changes automatically. Or I'm going to make it, instead of the default 120 pixels, I'm going to make this 250 pixels. So it's no longer 120. It's now 250, wider. And I can also see here how it's going to appear. And now I want to make it a little different. I want, for example, an option to choose all values. So I'm going to double click here. And now I can start editing it again. Again, I chose it and I double clicked the prompt. I could just choose it once and click the edit here on the top right, or I can double click it. So we're using a choice list just to see the different options. If I choose text field and say OK, now it looks like this. On the bottom, we can see it. Now I can type in whatever I want. But that's kind of difficult for big, long lists like the LC classifications because I have to get it exact. Nursing and surgery is okay. Some of them are a little longer. So we don't want text field. We had choice list. We could also do check boxes. I'm just looking at how the different options look. This is like we had before, the check boxes. Let's get out of this. Let's say I want to do, just to see what the different ones are, choice list. Choice list, I can only choose one at a time. Once I choose one, that's it. I can't come back and choose another one, even a different one. Even if I use my control. I can't choose more than one. So that's the choice list. Then we've got radio buttons. I think most people know what radio buttons are, but let's take a look at what a radio button is. This is a radio button. Radio buttons also, you can only choose one at a time. That's just the nature of a radio button. And then we've also got list box. I'm going to save it with the list box. Let's make sure I got the list box in there. Yes, list box, save, and let's go open it and see what happens when it's saved now. I'm going to go to the catalog and click open. We're just looking at the different options for the pull down of the prompt value. So now I've got like this. It's automatically, the prompt is automatically appearing with the values. And again, I can only choose one. Okay. So, and now I chose American literature. Let's go back. So those are the different options, and you can test them yourself. We don't need to make a list or write it all down. You can test it yourself. So let's go back now to the prompts. And let's edit it one more time. Okay, so now let's go down to the options here. First of all, I want to put this back to a choice list. And let's look at the options. So if I have an include all column values, which is usually a good idea, not always, but usually you want to be able to tell the user, go ahead, you can choose all in one shot. Then we've got, I was pointing out on purpose that I could only choose one in many cases. We also have the option enable users to select multiple values. So I've got both of those chosen now. And I'm going to save it, and let's see what's going to happen. I said the user can choose multiple, and I said there's an all values option. So let's see what's going to happen now. By the way, okay, we'll do that next time. So now I'm going to open. And first of all, now I've got this. I can just do that, and now they're all selected. And I can come and I can choose multiples. I could also choose multiples the first time because that's the very nature of this kind of checkboxes. And okay, so now I had the option of getting them all chosen, and the option of choosing multiples. Let's go back. We're starting basic. We're going to get a lot fancier as we go. I'm just going to look in the chat. I don't see any questions in the chat. Okay. Again, I'm going to double click it. And again, I'm going to go to the options. And I'm going to go to the more. And here also, here I'm going to change this here. I'm in the more. Now you can see it's much wider here. Now I'm going to do save. So now we have a prompt of the LC classification group. It's also possible to add multiple prompts to one report. And it's also possible to add a prompt of a field that does not appear in the report. For example, I'm going to go back to the catalog and open this so I can do the prompt. And I'll choose one here. I'll take nursing again, nursing and surgery. Actually, I can search here also. I'm going to click the more search, and I'll say I want anything with nursing and surgery. So now I've got nursing and surgery in here. And in the resulting report, I don't have the loan date year. but I may want to give the user the option of choosing the loan year. So let's do that. So to put things in perspective, we added a very basic prompt using a field that already appears in the report. Now we're going to add another prompt for a field that does not appear in the report. So we'll go to the edit. And we'll go to the prompts. And last time that we added a prompt, we went here to the plus, we chose column prompt, and we saw both of our both fields. Let me move the mouse. We saw both fields there that we were using already in the report. If we want to add a field that doesn't appear in the report as a prompt, which we're going to do now, then we can choose more columns. So I'm going to say more columns. And now I have everything that's in the subject area that I'm in. I'll go to the loan date and get the loan year. And now I can create the prompt just like the prompts that I had before. I'm going to leave it as a choice list. And I'm going to say um, include all column values. I also have, by the way, enable user to type values, because a year, instead of him going through it, or he or she going through the whole list, he or she can type 2021. Let's see. So now we've got the loan year there. You can see on the bottom we have both of them. We could change the order on top, and that would change the order on the bottom. I'm going to select loan year, and then here on the right, I'm going to click that little arrow. Now loan year is on top, LC classification group is on the bottom, and I'll change that around again. And save. Let's check this one out now. Catalog. We'll click open. And I'm going to say loan year. First of all, I can type it myself because we said allow user to type text. And I can come this way, clicking the arrow, and choose either all column values because we check the box of all column values. And I'm going to say I want 2020 and 2021. Okay. I'm not doing anything with the LC classification group, if you noticed. And now I got the results. I'm going to go back because I want to show another option there. Let's go back to the edit. Notice I did not choose anything on the LC classification group. Going to edit, going to the prompts, and I'm going to go back to the LC classification group, double clicked it. I'm going to the options here now, and I'm going to say now require user input. Now the LC classification group 1 has require user input. And OK. And save. And catalog. Let's click open one more time. Let's put here 2021. Notice I now cannot click the OK. The OK is disabled. And the OK has a pop-up saying all required prompts must have values to enable this button, because I said it requires input. I'm going to now give it some input, and I'll say I want everything. No, I don't want anything. I still want the nursing and the surgery. So I'll come here and I'll say, actually, I could say UR. That'll give me everything with UR, which includes, no, I still have to go through a lot, but I've got the nursing and I've got the surgery. Okay. And now I can do okay. Okay, we covered quite a bit in 27 minutes. I'm going to stop. Does anyone have any questions? I don't see any questions. Just let me know you're still with me, you still see me, you still hear me, you're still following, so I know. Okay, everyone's still there. Great. Let's go take a look at that presentation. Oh, someone asks, if you select all the years, do you have a breakdown of the years? No. I'm going to put this, and let me now go show that. And I want everyone to see the question because sometimes it's not quite clear. So let me put that in a Word document. And so someone is asking, let me put it that direction. Boom. If you select all the years, do you have a breakdown of the years? No, because I don't have it in the report. Let's do that. If I say, let's rerun it. We'll say open. Oh, sorry about that. Catalog, open. So if I choose 2021 and 2020, I don't have the breakdown by the year because I don't have that in my in the report. However, if I come here and I add the loan year, loan date, loan year, if I add this in here, either at the beginning, the end, whatever, and now I'll save it. Now it's going to be huge, actually. Okay, save. So now let's run it. Open. And now I'll choose whatever years. And here I'll choose nursing. So now I'll have it. So if I have it in the report, I'll get the breakdown. Otherwise, I won't. Someone else asks, can we show in the report what year they selected? Yes, we can. And what we're going to do later is exactly that, how to include the values chosen in prompts as part of the header in the analytics report results. In fact, let's do that now in a second or two. We were going to do it later, but the question came up, so we'll do it. We'll do it very shortly. I just want to go check this how to create a prompt in the analytics report because we've got that official document there, and let's just take a look at it. Sorry. And analytics masterclass. Make sure we covered everything. I'm quite sure we did. Oops. Let's get it from here. Boom. Okay. Just to review what we did. We went to the prompts. We click this plus here. And after we click the plus, We saw the fields that we already have in the report. Those are the ones that we had the number of loans and the LC classification group. And then we played around with the different options here of the user input is equal to, is not equal to. We added another one via more columns, just like in here, because the loan date was not in the report. The loan year wasn't in the report, so we chose it from the more columns. And then when we clicked open, we saw the prompts. And I think we covered pretty much everything here. So let's go now to the next one that someone asked. Let me close that, which is to include the values. I'm going to take the year out of this report. And so someone won't know what was chosen. I'll make this a little bigger so you can all see it. And then we'll add it here. Where is the make this bigger? Okay. And you can all do this as well. All right, so let's first of all go back to our report and hold on, sorry, I'm going through all these here. Okay, so I'm going to take the year out of the report and the columns because we're going to have the what the person chose appear on top. And for simplicity, I'm going to get rid of the LC classifications. I'm going to get rid of that prompt. We can do what we're doing on multiple prompts, but to try to keep things organized right now, so we learn one thing at a time, I'm going to remove this prompt, the LC classifications group 1, removing it. So I selected it, and I'm going to click this X. It's gone. So now I only have a prompt by loan year. Let me save this. Save as. I'm going to call this loans by prompted year for nursing and surgery. Okay. And I no longer have the prompt of the LC classifications group, so I'm going to filter it here. I'm going to keep the appearance of the group 1, filter it. It'll still be in the report. And we'll say nursing and surgery. Save. And we're not going to make the loan year appear because we want to add it automatically according to what someone chooses in the prompts. So I'll save that. Let's make sure it works. And it does. So now, just to stay on page, save. Just to clarify what we're going to do now. Currently, if this report is run and someone says open and chooses some type of value here, he chooses 2020, 2021 and says okay, we don't know in the results here what was chosen. We don't want columns because we don't want per year. We want all together, but we want it to appear on top. So we're going to follow exactly in the document. This time we're going to do the opposite of what we do. Usually we do it and then we look at the document. We're kind of starting on something a little more complicated. Okay. So we have our prompt. It says click the triangle next to the options in the set variable, choose presentation variable. Let's do that. And then in the field presentation variable, type the name of your variable uh, with no spaces. We're getting into something serious here, but that's the point of a master class. So let's go do that. I'm going to the prompt, and I'm going to edit the prompt. I'm clicking the triangle next to the options, and try next to the options, and the default selection, let's read the directions too. And the field presentation variable, and the set variable, choose presentation variable here, and then type one in with no spaces. So set variable, I'm choosing presentation variable, and then I call it something with no spaces. So I'll call it loan underline year. So now there's a presentation variable for this, and it's called loan year. Okay. I'm going to go back in and look at it so we all see. We opened up the options with the triangle, which in set a variable, we chose presentation variable, and we called it something without a space. It can't be two words. And we put in loan year. Okay, let's go on. Then, okay, that's just a picture like I just looked at. Now we can make this appear various ways. Uh, was it last week we did the narrative? I believe it was. Yes, it was. It was last week we did the narrative. Um, and we can do it now in a narrative. So it says the prompt can be defined to appear in the narrative as a column or as part of the title. And it should be inside curly brackets and preceded by an @ sign. For example, like this. So we made one called loan year. So ours, we're going to make it be that. Then what did I call it? There's a nicer word, but I called it curly brackets because everyone will know what a curly bracket is. But there is an official word. If someone knows the official word, you can put it in the chat. So we're going to make it like this to make it appear. And we're going to add it now to a narrative. And you'll see what we do. So I'm back in the report. Let's go to the results. Oh, brace. Yeah, could be braces. A brace. Yep. So a narrative. Here we are with, let's go slow. I'm going here to a new view, then other views, and then I'm going to choose a narrative. The narrative is a way to put into, we're going to talk about the narrative in the last session. I believe the last session is called something like tips and tricks or something. Useful tips. Yeah, we're going to talk about the narrative here as well. So let's get the narrative in there. So here's the narrative, and we'll edit it. First of all, I'm going to put it on the top. Okay, and edit. So there's a couple of ways to do the narrative. First of all, I'm just going to say I am a narrative just so we see what it looks like. Done. And there I have it on top here. I am a narrative. The reason I have it twice is because by default it appears once for every row in the table. But we can say we want it to appear rows to display 1. By the way, I can see a preview on the bottom. We can also make the narrative contain HTML. And I can say, for example, div align equals left. And let me fix that div. And font color equals red, size equals 4, bold, and then the number of, or let's say the values chosen in the prompt, colon. And now we'll put in that value, the presentation variable, which is the @ sign, the brace, loan year, close it. Then I'll close my bold, close my font, and close my div. Okay, let's see what we got. The value chosen in the prompt, loan year, and we're not seeing it. Let's do this. Oh, because we're in a situation here where it hasn't been chosen. It's an artificial situation here because no one chose anything in the prompt. I'm in the editing stage. Done. Okay, let's give it a try. I hope it works. Here we go. Catalog. And open. I will choose 2020, 2019, and 2021. Okay. Nice. So you can see we have the values that were chosen in the report. That answers the question. Can we show in the report what year they selected? Yes, we can, and that's how. Okay, I'm going to stop for a moment and see if there's any questions or comments from anybody. I'm looking at the chat and I don't see any questions or comments come in. Wendy, did you see any questions or comments come in?
Nope, no questions
No.
or comments.
Okay, so let's continue. And back to our regularly scheduled program. Okay, how to make the report analytics prompt input be case insensitive. Let's say, for example, we have someone choose by subject. And subject typically starts with a capital letter unless it's in the middle. Like if it's academic libraries. So the word libraries won't be capital, but the word academic will. But if somebody were to write academic in a small one, or libraries in a small one, he would get the academic libraries where the libraries is small, but he wouldn't get if libraries was the first one capital. I think we understand. So let's make a situation where this would be useful. Let's first of all go look at this for a moment. And let's open that up. Okay. And this is quite a useful one. So let's say I'm going to do word from title. Okay, again, we're going to use, by the way, the presentation variable, but in a different way. So let's make a report like that. And we'll say number of loans, word from title. We'll keep the number of loans. So let's edit this. And let's say we want, I'm going to go to the criteria. I'm just making a situation here where we're not going to have everything in the demo environment here. I'll get rid of the surgery, and we'll have, okay. Let me save this. Well, let's edit a bit more. We'll keep the number of loans. We'll get rid of the group. Well, we'll leave it there. And I'm going to add the title. And let's filter it by 2021 loan year. So I'll get the loan year, add the filter, loan date. I see a question came in. I'll address that soon. Loan year, I'll make it 2021. And I don't need to display that. And I'll save this as loans in 2021 for LC Group Nursing. And let's add the title. I'm going to explain philosophically what we're going to do before we, let me get rid of this too. I'm going to explain philosophically what we're going to do before we technically do it. Philosophically, what we're going to do is take this title and make it lowercase. And we're going to take whatever value the person puts in the prompt and also make it lowercase. And then it'll be a match by the lowercase version of what someone put in with the lowercase version of whatever the title is. And that'll be the way the filter is done, but we're going to display the regular title. That's what we're going to do. Now we'll start doing it technically. So first of all, let's just make a regular prompt here. And I'll say, oh, we have a great example here too. If I use the word fundamentals, you can see here it's got fundamentals, this one here in lowercase, and here it's got fundamentals in uppercase. So we have a great example. Let's go make the prompt. First, we're going to make a very basic prompt. So I'm going to get rid of this loan year prompt, and we'll add a new prompt for the title. And this will be contains any, because we want it word from. And I'm going to make a text field. So let's just see what's going to happen. I'm going to make it much wider because someone might put in a long text field. Go to the more and I'll make it 300 pixels. Save. So let's see what's going to happen now. I'll say catalog. And open. No, which one was it? Loans. Oh, I can do it this way. Last modified descending. This one. Okay. Open. Title contains any. If I say fundamentals, I get this. Only ones with lowercase fundamentals. And if I do uppercase fundamentals, then I get only ones with uppercase fundamentals. And we want to make it be not case sensitive. That's the goal here. Okay. Let's do it. Catalog. Or we can edit directly from here. And let's go to the prompts. So like last time, we're going to add a presentation variable. So we're going to the prompts. We're going to choose prompt for presentation variable, and we'll make up something. We'll actually call it word from title. Prompt for presentation variable, word from title. Let's do it. Prompt for, I'm going to close this. I'm going to get rid of this one. And here, presentation variable. I'm going to, this time, how do I make this larger so everyone can see it? Okay. Oh, right down here, the scale. Okay. So we're doing variable prompt. Prompt for presentation variable. Variable prompt, prompt for presentation variable. Again, I'm going to do it again. I'm choosing here variable prompt, and I'll call it word from title, because we're saying, like when I put in the word fundamentals, it was a word in the title. And I'll call it also word from title. User input will be text field. Yep, user input is text field. And that's it. Now, like I said when I was talking what we're going to do philosophically, we're going to convert the text the user enters to lowercase and also make the title be lowercase. So both what the user puts in and the title will be lowercase. And then I give the example here. It's going to find computer with a capital C and a lowercase c. We've got fundamentals with a capital F and a lowercase f. So let's first of all get the lowercase title. So done with that. How do we get a lowercase title? I'm going to put the title in again just to show how it works. I'm going to add the title. Title from the bibliographic details. If I want to make the title lowercase, I can go to Edit Formula. And there's a couple of ways. I could just do lower, write the word lower there like that, and that's going to convert it to lowercase. I'm going into the results, and now you can see here I've got it all lowercase. So the fundamentals here in the first example, it's all lowercase. If I didn't know the exact way to make this lowercase, I could have also, I'm going to put it back to the way it was. I could have also clicked this button here, which is Insert Function. And all of the different things I can do from here, all different kinds of functions. I believe we have a session on functions. Maybe next week or the week after. No, the week after. Next week is objects. So here in the string, I can do all different kinds of things. I'm just going to choose the lower, and it automatically gives me that. So I could have done it that way as well. So now I've got the lowercase title. Or more exact, I have the syntax to get the lowercase title. So the syntax to get the lowercase title is this. I'm going to copy it. We're not going to display it, so I'm going to get rid of it. But I have the syntax. Next. Now, okay, this just shows how to get the lowercase title. We already did that. Now, we already saw last time, it's actually good. Person who asked that question, thank you. The person who asked a question about putting the prompt choices on the top of the report, that actually helped us in our methodology here because we already know how to display the presentation variable with the @ sign and then the braces or the curly brackets. So now we're going to make it, let me take this and put it in and you'll see. We're going to add a filter here and I'll explain it in a minute. I can do a filter on anything and just convert to SQL so I've got the syntax. So what are we going to do here? I'll make this larger so everyone can see. Okay. What does this mean? This we already saw is the lowercase title. Like means I'm making it, if I were to hard code it, I'm going to hard code it here to like, just so you can see, like fundamentals. Just so we go step by step. The percent sign means any amount of letters can be before or after it. Okay, results. And now we have even ones with capitals because it's filtering by the lowercase version. It's displaying ones with the capitals and the second example, one without the capitals because it's filtering by the lowercase, displaying the regular. But we don't want to hard code that filter. We want that filter to come from the presentation variable. Therefore, we'll change this instead of this, instead of that fundamentals, we're going to have it this. We still have, this is what we replaced the fundamentals with. The same syntax we use to make the presentation variable appear on the top of the report, we're using that same syntax here in the filter. I just need to make that an L. Okay. Good thing I caught that. It wouldn't have worked and we wouldn't have known why. Why does it keep getting rid of the L? That's interesting. Okay, there we go. Okay. Everything's good. Now let's give it a try. I think I did everything. Let's make sure. Okay, let's give it a try. Here we go. Save. I'll make this regular size now. Catalog and open. Fundamentals. Great. So now I entered it all with lowercase, and I also have the one here that has a capital. Again, let me try a different version now, a different way. If I say here, I want fundamentals like this, all capitals, also I get, doesn't matter. This is all lowercase, this is part capital, and then the rest is not. And I can have any kind of mixture, even. I can say, for example, I want Fundamen. It can be any combination. And again, it'll work. So I've converted both sides, the side of the user who enters something in the prompt and the value it's being filtered on. I've made them both lowercase, so it doesn't matter. Let's try cardi. That'll give me cardiology and cardiac. I don't have anything with cardi. By the way, not on our plan, but I want to show when you get something like this and you want to make a nicer result. So it doesn't look, I mean, that's not a very nice thing, and someone might think it didn't work. You can make a message here, a message that will appear if the user chooses something that has no values. So he won't think he made a mistake in the prompt or she made a mistake in the prompt. And that's done from the criteria tab. It's also on the presentations and documents page that I sent before. We've got this thing here, which is called Edit Analysis Properties. I'm in the Criteria tab, Edit Analysis Properties. And here, it's now on Display Default Message, but I could also do Display Custom Message and say, there are no results for the value you chose in the prompt. Prompt. Okay, that looks correct. This will be red bold. I can say whatever, attention. The header appears differently. I'll say attention, blah, 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 or I'll say please note. Okay, and now if we do it, catalog. Okay, save. Now it gets saved. Open. I'll choose something that doesn't exist. Please note there are no results for the value you chose in the prompt. It's a nicer message than just that te technical message. Okay, questions. I see there's two that came in, or more than two even. Okay, so where are we? So someone asks, let's put this one out. I'm going to answer them in the order they came in. How do we have a prompt feed into many reports? Okay. For example, the fulfillment dashboard. Last week we did that. It's a dashboard prompt. We're already an hour and 2 minutes into this session, so I don't want to do again what we did last week. But I will, you can see the recording, or here you've got how to create a dashboard prompt. That's the only way that I know of that one prompt can be used in multiple reports, which is the whole purpose of a dashboard prompt. So I recommend seeing last week's or this presentation. Someone else asked, is it possible to create a custom label for the operator? I'm not sure I follow. Someone says, I'm not sure I follow exactly what you mean. A custom label for the operator. If you want to, I believe you can unmute yourself and speak, or if you want to send in a chat. Do you mean the operator, the person who made the loan? If it's a field in Alma Analytics, you can make a prompt for it. You can prompt for any field, if that's what you mean by operator. The loan operator. There's a field called operator. Okay, if that's what you mean, let me know. If you use text field as user, okay. Please show how you can rerun the, okay. There's a document on this one too. I wish we had time for everything. We made these an hour and a half, as you know, and it's still not enough. Usually our sessions are an hour or less, and I said to the people, let's do it an hour and a half. An hour and a half? What are you going to do in an hour and a half? People will get bored, but an hour and a half is not even going to be enough. Maybe we'll get to it today, how you can rerun the report. If we don't get to it, how to create a link to rerun a prompted analytics report. You can make a link that someone will click and it'll automatically rerun it. So there's a document there in the same place that I sent to everybody. How can we limit the choice of values? Okay, we're going to do this now. Someone asks, how can we limit the choice of values in the prompts? Okay, great. Let's do it on the year. Okay. Okay, a lot more questions are coming in. Let me go on because I want to cover some more actual stuff. So this question, I'm going to stop with this question. I'll go through the rest of the questions after. How can we limit the choice of values in the prompts? Let's say we have that report with the year, and we don't want all years. We want only 2018, 19, 20, and 21. So let's see. And I see we're not going to cover we're not going to cover all of these, but fine. Let's go on. Let me close that. I don't want anything coming in. Okay. So we're now answering limiting the choice of values in the prompts. So let's go to our report. And let's take this one and we'll edit it. So let's get rid of this prompt, although that was a nice one we did here, and let's say we want here the loan year. We're going to get rid of this filter. Loan year is 2021. We're going to get rid of the filter on the loan year because we're going to make it a prompt. And let's put in the loan year. Loan date, loan year. And let's go to prompts. First of all, I'm going to go to the results so I can make it, I'll put it in a logical order. Put the loan year here. Okay. And now we want a prompt, but we don't want all loan years. Is this an example of what you referred to, person who asked that question? Person who asked, how can we limit the choice of values in prompts? If this does not answer your question, tell me if you meant something different. So I only want maybe 2017, 18, 19, and 20. I don't want the person to have all of those options of every possible year. So we'll add the prompt of the loan year. We'll leave it just the way it is for now so we see exactly how it appears before we change it. And I'm going to say loans for LC Group Nursing end with year prompt for with specific options. Okay. So first let's see how it works now before we make the change. So now someone comes along and clicks open. He gets all of these years, but we don't want all of these years. We know there's no loans in 2040 so far. Maybe everything will be electronic in 2040. I bet you it won't be, but maybe. Okay. It's actually only 19 years away. We might even, you may still be in your library and I may still be at Ex Libris, so maybe we'll even know. Anyway, so now we're going to change that. So let's go to the edit. And let's go to the prompts. And let's edit the prompt. And in the options, we have default selection none. We want a default, we want limit values. We can do specific default selection. We're choosing specific values. By the way, I just want to point out that what happens in these kind of configurations is there's often more than one way to do these. So someone may show you a different way one day. There are more ways. This SQL results we can do also, by the way. So I'm going to choose specific values. And now using this plus, I can select certain values. And I'll say I want these values. Boom. Boom. So now I've got 2018 to 2021. And OK. And save. And open. So now I've got them there and they're already filled in. That's one way. There's another way, which we're going to do shortly, where we won't even be able to choose the others, but now it's already pre-filled in. I'm going to edit. And go back to the prompts. I think we're going to open another document too, because there's a way to do this with the SQL. Let's see. And back to the options. So that's the default selection. It's not the only ones. We can do SQL results. So inside the SQL, this is not an SQL result. I'm just going to run this. We're going to go back. Stay on page. Okay, saved now. And open. We have it all because we didn't put it in SQL. We're going to do an SQL now. And the SQL would say, give me only these days or these dates. And that brings us exactly to the next one here. How to make the report prompt date be a specific date using SQL. How to make the report prompt date be the current year. We can use any of these and just change our SQLs around. So let's take this one. It's already 13 past the hour. Okay. We have a report with a prompt of loan date. We see a way to change it by the, okay. So this is like ours. We get all of these. So we added already a column prompt. I'm going to do it from scratch though. Let's get rid of our prompt. We'll edit. And I apologize that I can't show everything in the time we have. I wish I could show every question. Okay. Prompts. I'm going to get rid of this one. We're going to add it brand new. Gone. Okay, add the column prompt, the loan year. Add the column prompt, the loan year. We're going to choose is equal to, operator is equal to, and user input is a choice list. And then we're going to open the triangle again. So, is equal to, choice list, open this, which is where we were before actually. Okay. We've got enable to select multiple values, enable user to type values, just like we have here. And in the choice list, choose SQL results and enter an SQL statement of the choice list values, leave the default. So there's going to be a default there. Choice list values, choose SQL results. Let's do it. Choice list values, SQL results. Choice list values, SQL results. And I'm just going to copy what we've got here. Select the loan date from the loan year from fulfillment, and then we can play around here. We can even hard code it. I know it looks complicated, but it's writing the SQL in there. So right now I'm going to say back here, default selection, boom. I'm just going to leave this to see what's happening, but let's look at what we got here. I'll make this much bigger so everyone can see. What do we have here? It says select the loan year from the fulfillment where, and here it's saying it's the current year. It's -0. I'm going to leave this one now just so we can see what's happening. And I'm going to call this one using SQL. End. using SQL. And let's run it. It should now give the current year. Open. And it's giving the current year. Now I'm going to say prompt, this one, let's edit. Prompt this, I'm going to change it. Instead of, let me make a new one. Instead of this, I'm going to write year, loan year between, and this is going to be 2 years ago. 2 years ago or 3 years ago. I think it's going to be 2, and the current. Let's see if that's going to work. There's other ways to test it, but let's just put it in there and see what happens. Save. By the way, I'm going to make this wider. More, let's make it 500 pixels. Save, catalog, and open. There we go. So now it's using SQL to take those, and we can change it around if we want. Why did that just pop up there? Okay. Everyone still hear me and see me? Because I just got a pop-up on the screen. Okay, so now we have only 2019, 2020, 2021 by default coming from the SQL. Okay, somebody answered yes. Let's see what that was in relation to. Oh, that was when I said, is this answering your question? Okay, thank you. Oh, that was yes, you were still there. Okay, great, thanks. Okay, let's see if other questions came in. How to use text field as user input. Someone says if you use, how to use, it looks like a continuation of something else he or she wrote. If you use text as user input, let me go to that person's. Oh, is it possible to create a custom label for the operator? So here's the question. Let's put it out here. The next question. And then they answered, is it possible to create a custom label for the operator if you use text field as user input? Okay, let's do that. Let's do text input on the word from title again. So I'm going to take this report. We'll add another prompt for the title. I will edit. And then I also want to squeeze in a very easy way to add a prompt. So if you want to just do it very simply, prompts, we'll make a text input like you mentioned here. So if we say add column prompt on the title, so I'm going to make this text field like you said, and I'll say contains any. because they're not going to type in the whole title. And if I want to make, like you mentioned here, a custom label, if you use text field as input, so I have text field as input and a custom label, I'll say enter word from title, and I can say it doesn't have to be case sensitive, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And now if we run this, catalog, open. So now it's enter word from title contains any fundamental. Okay. Let me go, I think the same person, and then I'm going to move on to another person, but let's see. He or she says, I mean an alternative for contains any. Oh, you don't want it to say contains any. I'm not aware of a method to change the contains any to something else. But you can put a tip there. You can't change the contains any. And let's go here, open or catalog. Edit. Removing that contains any, I'm not aware. But what you could do is edit it again and say here a description, put in any word from the title or whatever you wanted to put there. Then catalog, open. So at least you can have this pop-up text, but I'm not aware of a way to get rid of the contains any. Somebody else put in a comment, which is a good point. I believe the default selection you showed us, I showed how to get only 2019, 2021. One way was using the SQL, one way was hard-coded. The advantage of the SQL is it's always taking from now minus 2 years. So next year you don't have to change the hard-coded. Says, I can't see a big difference between prompting default selections as you showed us or just adding that selection as a filter in the criteria tab. The difference is if I put it in the criteria section of the, if I make a filter in the criteria section of the report, then the user cannot change it. This way, it's defaulting to 2019, 2020, 2021, but he or she can say, I only want 2020, 2021. Whereas if I put it in the filter tab, it's hard-coded. He or she can't change it. So good point, yes, but this way the user can change it. Okay, let me show one more thing. I'm sure some questions are going to come in, and that's great. That means people are interested here. A much simpler way. Like I said before, there's a million ways to do things. Catalog. Let's get a very basic report again. Create analysis. And let's take something else. We've been using fulfillment the whole time. Let's take e-inventory. By the way, fulfillment is the most popular. Fulfillment and physical items are the most popular subject areas. When I say popular, I mean the majority of queries run in Alma Analytics around the world is fulfillment and physical items. So how does that match to the paperless society we're talking about and everything going electronic? But anyway, If I have a report here, such as, let me get number of portfolios, number of available portfolios. And I say platform. Or the platform is not going to be for what I want to do. I'll say electronic collection. Electronic collection public name we'll get. And let's throw in one more, the provider name, or this one. Okay. So let's save that. Very basic report. We have the number of available portfolios, electronic collection public name, and is it active for CDI? Let's save this. Electronic collections. And just so I get the, okay, I think I'm covered because I got number of available portfolios. Let's leave it like this. So we'll get the life cycle. The life cycle, I will say filter is equal to is in repository. Okay. And we're going to add a prompt an entirely different way in the 2 minutes which remain for us. So if I want to prompt, for example, by CDI active for search in CDI, I can right click this and say move column to prompts. Move column to prompts. Now I've got it right here in the prompts. And even when I'm in the results tab here, I can use it. Previously, we had to do open. I'm going to choose here, for example, not active. And now it automatically starts doing it. I moved it there. It's not appearing here. I could also, however, say, I'm going to search for it on the left, CDI space dash active. I could also display it here. So now I've got it here in the prompt, and I can use this while I'm in the results tab. I'm going to save that. Click open on it in the catalog. And I don't get it immediately first. I get it now here with the whole thing. And now it's automatically changing. You see, now it's not active and now it's active. It's got some different behavioral features as well. You can play around with that as well. I see it's 9:30 local time here. Are there any final questions, comments, anything? Someone says, okay, thank you. Someone says, that's cool. Yeah, it is a pretty cool option. There's nicer things I could show on it too. You can click the little pencil next to it and do all kinds of stuff. Okay, so thanks a lot, everybody. As usual, we're going to post a recording and we'll send out the link. And you can get the link yourself also. It's on YouTube, like I showed at the beginning. And great. So have a nice day and goodbye.